This is Maya with Rico. This video is about relativity's case dynamics. So where your Documents tab is where you do your review and some tagging and coding. Your Case Dynamics tab is where you get to build your story and get really detailed about the matter and your arguments. So you get to start making facts and issues, interview questions. You get to build timelines and make reports. You can even make deposition binders and start prepping for your exhibits. You get to link all of those items to each other interactively and with your documents. And you can build this even before you have documents. You can continue building this while you're reviewing documents and get yourself ready and geared up for all of the phases of your matter. So as you can see here, I'm in the Case Dynamics tab, and we have the sub-tabs for each individual item. You also have the Entities tab. This is integral with the Case Dynamics, and you can link entities so long as they're tagged with key Case Dynamics. So I'm going to walk you through some big picture things that you can do to kick off your matter even before you have documents, and obviously you keep building and developing these things all the way through your review. The first thing you do is create your key entities. Then you're going to start building outlines to make your issues, facts, and even add more entities. Then we're going to walk through making some timeline reports. You can prep your dynamic views and make dashboards for reporting in the Documents tab. All of these things you can do without having documents in the database. Well, except for linking the documents. You gotta have the documents to link them. So to make your new entities, we have a few options. As you can see here, I have a big list of entities already made, but if I wanted to manually add a new one, we select the New Entity button. This gives us our new entity layout, and we can add and modify any fields we need to add to this object. We can add them to this layout, but the one that's very important is the key Case Dynamics. Make sure that's checked as you add new entities. You can also do a bulk import. Make a CSV file, comma delimited file that you can open up in Excel. Add in your last name, your first name. You can even put the full name. You can put the type. You can put in any other fielded information that you want, addresses, aliases, and so forth. Just remember, make sure classification is tagged key Case Dynamics. That's the magic button that links it back to your Case Dynamics tab. So once you have your entities started, even if you run processing or name normalization, Relativity is going to try and hook on new documents or link documents from your Documents tab for using name normalization to your existing entities. So doing this little bit of prep work up front helps you downstream in a lot of ways. So I'm going to navigate back to the Case Dynamics tab, and we're going to start making outlines, creating issues, facts, and entities, even if we don't have documents. So when we pop into Case Dynamics, we're automatically taken to the Facts tab. But I'm just going to navigate over to my outlines to get started with some documents outside of Relativity that I think should be in there. You can see here I have a list of documents that I've already created, and I've linked some facts, issues, entities, and questions. To make a new outline, select the New Outline button. This gives you a basic, Microsoft Word format, standard editor for your new outline. You can give it a name. That's required. And then you can start typing. Here's a little trick. If you use the @ symbol and start typing text, Relativity is going to key in and it's going to give you options for objects to link that might already exist. So if I wanted to add in a fact, you can see it shows up in green. And all of the other items that I can link, you can see here is our key. All of these items will show up in your text. It'll auto-populate the text of that item, either the name or the fact or the issue and so forth. and it's going to be highlighted in the specific color. These are all your editing tools. You can do hyperlinks, you can do photographs, you can do all kinds of external content. You might want to copy and paste in the complaint if you've already got some case summaries, news articles, maybe critical emails. Anything that you can dream of that can be copied and pasted can be put into this object. Here's an example of a complaint that I entered. Now, if I click on this item, this is a quick way to edit some of the high-level information about this document. We can also adjust the color if we wanted to have a little visual indicator of key documents just within this list. And we can click on the different text boxes and either type free text here, or we can click specific questions to link other objects from our other tabs that are available in Case Dynamics. When we're done, we hit save. And if we wanted to edit that, we can select the pencil button. If we wanted to just look at it, we could select the little eyeball button. I want to edit this. So what I did here is I took the complaint. It was a PDF. I copied and pasted it into this document, and I used this to start linking new facts, new entities, new issues directly from the text. So as you can see here, I've selected a key entity, and I get a contextual menu. I right-clicked on that, and I select key person. This gives us the text in the way that it thinks that we'd like to see it, but we can modify that, and it allows us to link entities that already exist if we wanted to do that. If I wanted to search in greater depth with a little more control over the results, you can see that our name normalization brought this in. I think I want to add a new entity, so I'm just going to select new, and then I can go back to the entities tab later and I can merge the entities to clean that up. So here we have our name. Now it's highlighted in orange because it's a person. And if we scroll down, here's an example of a fact that I created. When I right-click on that fact, we can view or we can remove it. So it won't be linked to this document anymore. And here's an issue. Now, of course, we have our standard highlighting. I just made a note to myself that these are good possible issues. So if I right-click, I make a new issue, add issue. It's as easy as that to make new issues from within your database. So already we have new entities, new facts, new issues, and we may not even have documents in our database yet. We can just start with a complaint and begin building out the story for our matter. So here's what it looks like when we view. We have our List View Outlines option. It's just another way to look at the visual of this document, and you can edit it from this pane as well. So the next thing you can do to jumpstart your case is to start making some timelines. Here's our timeline builder. We get to give it a name, and we can give it a title if we wanted to show the report title on the report, and we can select conditions. If we wanted to see everything, we would select fact is set. This will give us a big timeline for all of our facts. So when I hit save, it reminds me of all the things that I missed. There we go. And it automatically gives us the timeline that we requested. In this case, it was all the facts. You can see our timeline is pretty long. We have the option to color code the different facts with different colors. Good visual indicators. Select the color, select the facts you want to update. And then if you want to move the objects around, go back to your key tool. You can change the orientation of the report and do other adjustments using these icons for formatting. You can click and drag to move your icons around. And very important, this is our key. We can actually update the color coding with our own custom text. This little key gives us the information about our dates. Either it's an exact date, an approximate date, and then here are the facts that show us the start and begin time of dates with date ranges. So when you're done with your report is automatically saved. Here's our test report and all of the other reports that we've saved in our report set. Every time you execute this timeline, it's going to update with the new facts. So as you're adding new facts to your matter, you can just pop into this anytime and see all of the updates that have been made since the last time you checked. There's other reports in here too, and we'll go over them a bit later. But to continue with the things to jumpstart our case, we can prepare dynamic views for these other objects. Let's go to facts. As your facts develop and you get more and more items in this list, it's helpful to have specific subsets of facts delineated in views. This view here shows all facts. Currently we have 27. But if I wanted to see just the documents that pertain to the issue special purpose entities, I can select this view. And we can just make new views using the new view wizard, like any view in Relativity. So this is going to prepare us downstream, not only for managing the different issues and understanding the topics and really getting into the granular details of supporting your story and developing your story. We're also going to be able to create reports using these views. So the last thing I recommend for jumpstarting your case is just popping into your Documents tab and making a new dashboard. Here we have it. It's called Case Dynamics. You can name it what you like. And we made 4 widgets. 2 for Case Dynamics, Facts and Issues. And we also added the clustering and communication analysis. So this reporting is going to help us really dive into the documents related to each fact and each issue, and even perhaps understand it better, or you can get a reference for the topics of conversation, the clusters in the conceptual groupings, and the players who are communicating about these issues, so you can expand and broaden your search, narrow things down, and really drive your investigation of the issue and build your story. So popping back into our case dynamics, let's just talk a little bit about a little more of the nitty-gritty of making facts and issues and so forth. So we looked at outlines. We can also build new facts in much the same way. We select the new fact button. It gives us a new line item here. These are our save and cancel. We can give it a color. Your fact should be something fairly concise because that's what's going to show up in the face of your timeline. Your description could be a little more broad, and obviously comments, dates, and so forth. Entities, you get your drop-down menus. You can select specific entities to include. And you don't have to click save. You can just select the options that you want and move on to the next item. Relativity will save it for you automatically. I mean, from column to column. Once you're done with this whole line item, you still select save, or I'll just hit cancel. Now, if you wanted to edit an item, you can click on it, just like we did before. And here's a very useful option. You can add child elements. This will add a sub-item related to this fact, and you can see the number it's given a sub-fact. So you can make views specific to individual facts if you really needed more detail and supporting documentation to really tease out what happened, where, and when. You can do that with adding child facts. Very same format for issues. Here we're in our mark to market view. That gives us everything that is the parent and children of this specific issue topic, but here is our all issues list. You can see same interface. You're going to find very common elements across all of these objects. So how do we create items, issues, facts, entities, and so forth from within the Documents tab? Okay, so we're going to navigate back to a document. And it's actually going to be the Case Dynamics layout at the top. So when you first log in to the database for the day, it's going to give you the normal layout where you have your drop-down menu. Select the Case Dynamics button at the top, and we get this sort of layout overlay that slides over. So if you ever log into the database and you can't find your layouts, just click this Case Dynamics icon, and it's going to hide the Case Dynamics layout for you. As you are linking and coding documents, your changes are saved automatically. You don't have to select Save and Next. Whenever you click on something, that is automatically saving. You can see there's a little saving icon there. And your facts and issues and key people tabs are very similar to the Case Dynamics tab with the sub-tabs that we navigated to before, so it's very familiar. We can manually create new items by selecting the New button. Give it a name. If we want to select a parent, we can select a parent. We can also link by selecting the checkbox. And we can also edit a specific fact, issue, people, organizations, and so forth. So this is super handy so that you can update things that already exist, but you don't have to navigate directly to or back out of your document and then over to the Case Dynamics tab and then find the sub-tab and then find the item. It's a lot fewer clicks this way. You just select the little pencil icon if you have permission to edit Case Dynamic objects, and you get your pop-up to edit it. You can also view the item if you want more detail, but you don't need to edit it. Just by selecting the blue underline link, you get your pop-up and you can see. You can also interact with it by adding new attachments, new documents, facts. So if you found or referenced another document, maybe in your related items pane, and you wanted to link that one to this as well, instead of navigating to the document, you could just put in the beg control and automatically link that attachment to this issue itself. So a lot of very complicated editing and viewing you can do just from within the Case Dynamics tab. So workflow consideration, who do you want to enter issues, facts, link people and organizations, and make interview questions? You might consider treating this as a second or third pass review. Maybe have your review team continue to tag as normal, doing your issue coding layout and tagging things for specific issues and tagging things hot, and then take the most relevant items for each specific issue, the hot items, and then start your Case Dynamics review. Case Dynamics is ideal for truly crystallizing the results of your review and linking and preparing your deposition binders and linking just the documents you need that are best suited to supporting your story. So from the documents, we can also interact with transcripts. So once you've had your deposition and you want to pop into the transcript and make notes about it for your Case Dynamics, Relativity integrates nicely as well. So I was working in the extracted text of those other documents, but I'm going to navigate over to the transcript icon because it gives us a little more functionality for transcripts. So in addition to the normal tools that you use in transcripts and Relativity, you also have the Case Dynamics links that you can make. You can see here we have our entities, We can even click on the highlighted item to pop open that link to view that entity, to make some more notes. We have our color coding and our legend. And this is a great moment to start creating answers to some of your interview questions. So you can see here, we've got an interview question that we linked, and we can actually edit that item, take a look at it, and we can edit to make the actual answer as well. So transcripts give us some extra features integrated with case dynamics. So let's go back to the reporting. Here's some examples of various reports. If you want to make a new report, select New Report Set. Give it a name, give it a type. Offline report will include linked documents, and a master report will be basically an Excel worksheet listing the views of your document table. Let's navigate to one that's already been created. So here's a demo report that we've already created, and what you get to do is you get to select the views for each object that you want to include. Those objects will be facts, issues, questions, and so forth. So you can see I've selected a number of facts in my report. We also have the option to add new issues or link existing issues for each of these other items. When you've selected the options that you want to include, you can select the Generate Report button, and you actually get a new report file. You download this file, and it'll save as a zip file to your desktop. Once you've downloaded it, you can open up the zip file, and you can see here we have our supporting documents and we have our facts. So this report is an offline report, so we get our facts listed in HTML format. And as we scroll down, you can see we have some natives linked as well. When we click on that, it's going to attempt to open the native file that's linked here. So be sure that you extract your zip file before trying to open your documents. Here's an example of an extracted offline report. We have our different objects that we've exported for and the documents that support each of those items. If your links don't work, never fear, your documents are still going to be organized by whichever object they were exported from, and you can still open them from the folder. I haven't had any problems except when I forget to extract the zip file. So here's our facts. And then when we click on the hyperlink, it takes us to the linked file. It actually downloads it for us and pops it open in the native application. Very handy for deposition binders. So here's a sample of our master report. This is the basic one where we get to pick our views and export an Excel worksheet with all of those views listed in the report. We download our file and we can open it up in Excel. You can see there's tabs for each of the objects we selected the export for. And this is a great way to just have a handy list of documents and issues to take with us if we need it to be offline. Now I mentioned deposition binders. There's a couple of different ways to go about making those. One is in our report to do our dynamic offline report, which exports all of the facts, issues, and so forth, plus their supporting documents for taking a package with us during deposition to automatically be able to open up each item per each interview question. Here's what our extracted binder looks like. We can pop open the interview questions, and then each question is listed with the documents supporting each item that you can select the image, and if it's PDF, you can even open up in your browser just like that. Now, another option for an interview binder would be to export this list to file as an Excel spreadsheet and then print all of the images associated with these records to one single PDF. You can do that using that Carol St. Clair interview view that we made earlier in our case. And we can filter by all of the questions pertaining to Carol St. Clair and then use our mass action to print. One thing to note that when you are setting up to get ready to print from these different objects, you have to make a printing profile for each one. You can see that we've done for interview question and issues, and this is just where it defines which fields it's going to give you in the slip sheet for each record, and it's just your general print settings. So once that's set up, go back to our interview questions. We use our view to identify the list of records we want to print. We select the print mass action and we select go. We find our print option, print profile, gives us the information from our print profile, and we select print. So the PDF downloaded for us within that window automatically. And when we open up that little PDF document, you can see there's our slip sheet with the fields that we included, we set up in our printing profile. And as we navigate across this document, you can see the records follow the slip sheet. So that is the detailed explanation, pro tips, and overall workflow for using case dynamics, building items, digging into the documents that link to the story of your case, developing the story, making depot binders, even making exhibits. All this is at your fingertips with Case Dynamics. Thanks so much for joining me today. Happy reviewing.